This tutorial is about researching federal administrative law on govinfo.gov. Federal administrative law falls under the executive branch of the government, which is headed by the President. Federal administrative law includes enabling statutes that create agencies, give them their mandate, set up their boundaries. It also includes executive orders from the President directing agency actions. It includes agency actions themselves, including creating regulations through a notice and comment rulemaking process, and it includes court decisions. GovInfo.gov is the federal government publishing website, so all of the information published by the federal government can be found here, including administrative information. Notice at the top you have a Google type search box. This is a good place to start. You can use it for a keyword search, which a lot of people do, but then notice there's also an advanced search tab, which gives you more options, and there's a citation tab, so if you have a specific citation to either the Federal Register or the Code of Federal Regulations, you can type that in there. If you'd like to browse any of these administrative materials, click on the category box beneath the search bar, and then you can choose the type of category of a document that you're looking for. So I chose category just so you can see all the different types of materials that have to do with federal administrative law. And by the way, this process also exists for state administrative law, so please see the other tutorials in this series for state administrative research. So under category, you can choose bills and statutes, and then you'll notice on the right-hand side there's a listing of the types of documents under this category, including the United States Code. Why would we look here for federal administrative law? The U.S. Code is where you would find the enabling statutes that actually create federal agencies and say what they can and cannot do. Here's the United States Code and how you would browse that on govinfo.gov. It tells you about the U.S. Code, how it's updated, when that happens. You can certainly read more. Or below, you can click the year and open up the different titles and actually read those enabling statutes for yourself. Again, from the main page, you can search by text search or by citation, or you can browse. Another category under the category box is executive agency publications, and you'll notice these are pretty specific. They don't include all the different agencies, but there are some documents here that you wouldn't necessarily find anywhere else because this is the federal government publishing website. Also, down toward the bottom of the category list is regulatory information, and that means federal administrative agency regulations. So I clicked on that, and you'll see the types of documents you have, including the Code of Federal Regulations, which are the regulations that are in place right now that are current that people have to follow. The Federal Register, which is the daily newspaper of all of the process of making those regulations, and then something called the list of CFR sections affected. So if you know a particular section of the Code of Federal Regulations that your client must follow, you can search by that code number and it will tell you what's happening in the Federal Register, what's happening in that daily newspaper in the process that might be affecting your particular section. So I clicked on the Federal Register just so you can see. And again, federal agencies take part in notice and comment rulemaking. So they'll publish a notice, hey, we're thinking about making a regulation in this area. We're open for comments. Anyone can comment. Ordinary citizens, businesses, other agencies, whoever can make a comment and say, hey, we think this is going to impact us in this way. Then the agency might amend that notice. They might say, okay, we're going to suggest that maybe we write the regulation this way, and they'll publish that notice and more comments, and it goes back and forth until the agency says, okay, this is the final version of the regulation, and it's going into effect on a certain date. All of that notice and comment, all of the back and forth, all of that gets published in the Federal Register, which is that daily newspaper of all the processes. So you can read that daily newspaper here. Notice that it tells you about the Federal Register, what's included in it. You can read more about that. Or you can browse through the Federal Register by clicking open the particular dates. So if you have a citation, this is a good way to find that. Also, you'll notice as you open a specific issue of the Federal Register, there is a table of contents. You can actually sign up to have that table of contents delivered to you each morning via email, so that if you regularly deal with administrative law, you can browse through that each morning, see if there's anything happening with an agency that you know your clients are ruled by, and if there is, you can read it right away and get involved. If not, you can delete that and go on with your day. So once that whole process takes place and a regulation takes effect, it gets put into the Code of Federal Regulations. That's what's in effect right now, regulations that people must follow. Again, you can, from the main page, you can do a text search through the Code of Federal Regulations, or you can browse through the federal regulations if you have a specific section that you want to look at. Again, it tells you at the top, here's how this is updated, here's when and which sections, etc. You can read much more about the CFR. You can also click here to access the e-CFR, or the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, to make sure that what you're dealing with is the very most up-to-date. This will take you out to that particular office with the most up-to-date material. If you just want to read through what is existing, you can scroll down and click open the different days. Again, right, you get multiple delivery options. Something else that then impacts administrative law is judicial publications, particularly U.S. court opinions. So the way agencies work, they write these regulations, they go through the notice and comment process. Once those regulations then come into effect, the agency also enforces those regulations. So if your client has been charged with being out of compliance with a particular regulation, then your client gets an opportunity to have a hearing before an administrative law judge within the agency. And that judge will hear the case and issue an order. If you want to appeal that, there's an appeal process within the agency also. Once you have exhausted that dispute resolution mechanism within the agency, then if you're still not happy with the outcome, you can appeal it out to the federal courts. And the courts will hear those appeals after the agency has heard that particular dispute. So you can find U.S. court opinions on GovInfo also under the category tab, choose judicial publications, and then notice over on the right-hand side, U.S. court opinions. When you click on that, it tells you about the U.S. court system and about those opinions. You can certainly read more. You can browse through if you have a particular citation, or remember, back on the main page, you can always use the search box to search for all of these things, right? So you can search through the Federal Register, you can search through the Code of Federal Regulations, you can search through U.S. Courts opinions also. So we went back to the main page. Notice I clicked on Advanced Search. Advanced Search is always worth looking at. Even if it just takes you a few seconds, at least you'll know more about your options for searching. So for example, here we are in the Advanced Search. You can choose a date range. In the center where it says Refined by Collection, you can say, I want to search the Code of Federal Regulations. I'm going to check that box. I want to search the Federal Register. I want to check that box. I want to search U.S. court opinions as well. You can check that box. And then over on the right, you've got options for searching full text, among other criteria. For more instruction on how to research administrative law, not just with GovInfo, but with other databases as well, please see the other tutorials in this series, or you can always reach out to us for help with research. You can come by the library. You can email us at lawrefgp@law.stetson.edu, or you can call us on the phone 727-562-7821.